What if the one thing you gave your child to keep them connected with the world is actually leaving them completely and devastatingly alone? Picture this. It's Saturday afternoon, a child's birthday party, 10 kids ages 8 to 12 sitting around a table. The cake has been cut, the pizza has been eaten. The room should be chaos. Kids running, screaming, playing tag, arguing over who gets to go first in whatever game they invented 5 minutes ago. But instead, there is silence. Not the peaceful kind, the eerie kind. Every single child is hunched over a device. Some are playing Roblox, some are watching YouTube, some are texting each other from across the same table because actually speaking out loud feels too vulnerable, too risky, too real. The birthday kid's mom is standing in the doorway and she is heartbroken. She spent $300 on this party. She hung streamers, she made goodie bags, she created an event designed for connection. But the kids aren't connecting. They are sitting in the same room, breathing the same air, yet they are completely alone, each one isolated inside their own glowing rectangle. This is not a future dystopia. This is 2026, and this is the loneliness crisis no one is talking about. We spent the last decade worrying about stranger danger and keeping our kids physically safe. We put them on leashes at the park. We tracked their location with apps. We drove them everywhere instead of letting them walk. We eliminated every physical risk. We spent the last decade worrying about physical safety, but we handed them something far more dangerous. How can a child have 847 friends online, but can't name a single person they'd call if they were sad? Why are rates of teen loneliness, anxiety, and depression skyrocketing in the most connected generation in history? In this video, we are going to expose the billion-dollar psychological trap that has stolen childhood. More importantly, we will give you the 4-step counterintuitive plan to save your child from digital isolation and guarantee they develop the deepest, most resilient friendships of their life, friends who will notice if they disappeared. Let's start with the data, because this isn't opinion, this is a public health crisis. According to the CDC and multiple longitudinal studies from 2020 to 2025, rates of teen loneliness, anxiety, and depression have skyrocketed. But here is the paradox that should terrify you. This spike happened during the exact same years that kids became more connected than ever before. They have smartphones, they have social media, they have Discord servers with hundreds of people, they have group chats that ping every 4 seconds. They are constantly, endlessly engaged with other human beings through screens. And yet, they report feeling more isolated, misunderstood, and invisible than any previous generation. How is this possible? How can you be surrounded by people digitally and physically and still feel completely alone? Because we confuse communication with connection. Let me be very clear about something. Texting someone is not the same as talking to them. Liking someone's post is not the same as laughing with them. Watching someone's life through a screen is not the same as living life alongside them. Digital interaction is a two-dimensional facsimile of human connection. It gives you the appearance of friendship without any of the substance. It's like eating a picture of food and wondering why you're still starving. Your child is not connecting with 800 people on TikTok. They are performing for an audience of strangers and praying someone validates them with a heart emoji. That is not connection. That is begging. Let's talk about what tech companies sold us versus what they actually delivered. In the early 2010s, when social media for kids was just taking off, the marketing pitch was beautiful. It was, stay connected with friends and family, no matter where you are. It promised to eliminate loneliness, to shrink the world, to make your child feel seen and loved. But that's not what happened. What actually happened is that we replaced real friendship with the performance of friendship. Think about how your child interacts with their friends online. They don't call them, they don't go to their house, they don't play in the backyard or ride bikes to the gas station to buy candy. Instead, they curate. They spend 45 minutes choosing the right photo to post. They agonize over the caption. They check the likes every 30 seconds. They feel a dopamine spike when someone comments, "OMG, you're so pretty," and they feel a pit of despair when someone they thought was a friend doesn't engage at all. This is not friendship. This is a transaction, and your child is both the product and the customer. Real friendship is built on three things: time, vulnerability, and shared experience. Time. You can't speed run a friendship. You have to sit next to someone for hours, bored, awkward, figuring out who they are and who you are in relation to them. You have to survive the silence together. Vulnerability. Real friends see you at your worst, when you're crying, when you're angry, when you failed the test, when your parents are fighting. They don't see a curated highlight reel. They see the raw, messy, human you. Shared experience. You have to do things together. Climb a tree, build a fort, fight over the rules of a made-up game, and then make up. Laugh until your stomach hurts about something that isn't even funny, but you had to be there to understand. None of that happens through a screen. On a screen, your child can control the narrative. They can edit out the awkwardness. They can ghost someone without consequence. They can present a perfect, likable version of themselves without ever risking rejection. But here's the cost. They never learn how to be a real friend. They never learn how to resolve conflict face to face. They never learn how to tolerate the discomfort of being truly known by another person. They are practicing a simulation of friendship, and when they try to apply those skills in real life, they fail. Because real humans are complicated. Real humans are unpredictable. Real humans require emotional labor that a screen does not. So they retreat back to the screen where everything is controlled, everything is safe, and everything is ultimately devastatingly empty. Let's take a time machine back 30 years. It's 1995. You're 10 years old. It's Saturday morning. Your mom kicks you out of the house at 9 a.m. and tells you to be back when the streetlights come on. You don't have a phone. You don't have a plan. You just go. You knock on your friend's door. They're home. Great. You ride bikes to the park. Another kid shows up. Now, there are three of you. Someone suggests building a ramp out of plywood and a cinder block. It's a terrible idea, but you do it anyway. Someone crashes, someone cries, someone makes a joke. You all laugh. You spend 6 hours together, and not 1 second of it was documented. There are no photos, no videos, no proof it even happened, except the scraped knee and the inside jokes you'll remember for the rest of your life. This is how friendships were built for millennia, through unstructured, unsupervised, in-person time. Now let's come back to 2026. Your 10-year-old wants to see a friend. You have to schedule it. You have to coordinate with another parent. You have to drive them there. They spend 2 hours together, maybe. The entire time they are half present because one of them keeps checking their phone to see what other people are doing. When they leave, your child doesn't feel fulfilled. They feel anxious because they saw on Instagram that 3 other kids hung out without them, and now they're wondering if they're being left out, if they're losing status, if they even matter. We didn't just take away unstructured play. We took away the emotional safety that comes from knowing you belong to a group without having to perform or prove your worth every single day. Here is the thing about old school friendships. You didn't have to be on all the time. You could just exist. You could be boring. You could be in a bad mood. You could sit in silence, and your friend didn't unfollow you. But online, your child is always performing, always on. One bad post, one unflattering photo, one weird comment, and they can be exiled from the group with a single click. The stakes are artificially high and the safety net is gone. And here's the part that should make you angry. The tech companies know this. They designed it this way. They know that social anxiety drives engagement. They know that FOMO, fear of missing out, keeps kids refreshing their feeds. They know that the lonelier your child feels, the more they will turn to the device for validation, creating a feedback loop of despair and dependence. Your child is not weak. They are not too sensitive. They are being psychologically manipulated by billion-dollar algorithms designed to exploit their deepest human need, to belong. So what do we do? How do we raise kids who know how to be real friends in a world that is actively trying to turn them into isolated content consumers? We bring back the 3D friend. The 3D friend is the opposite of the 2D screen friend. The 3D friend exists in physical space. They breathe the same air. They make eye contact. They bump into you, accidentally step on your foot, and have to apologize out loud. Here is how we build that. Number 1, enforce phone-free hangouts. When kids come over to your house, there is a basket by the door. All phones go in the basket. No exceptions. Not even for just checking something real quick. Your child will resist this. Their friends will resist this. Do it anyway. For the first 20 minutes, they will be awkward. They will complain that they're bored. They will say there's nothing to do. Good. Let them sit in that discomfort. Let them remember how to entertain themselves without an algorithm spoon-feeding them dopamine. And then something magical happens. They start talking. They start playing. They create something. They connect. Number 2, bring back the neighborhood roam. This is the hardest one because it requires you to override every instinct you have about safety. You need to let your child leave the house without a plan and without a GPS tracker glued to their forehead. I'm not saying send your 6-year-old into the woods alone. I'm saying let your 10-year-old ride their bike to a friend's house. Let your 12-year-old walk to the corner store with a buddy. Unstructured time and unstructured space is where kids learn who they are and how to navigate the world with other people. It is where they learn to problem solve, negotiate, and build trust. And yes, it is slightly risky. But do you know what's riskier? Raising a child who is so dependent on digital validation and parental supervision that they have no idea how to function independently or form authentic relationships. Number 3, teach them to tolerate awkwardness. One of the greatest casualties of the digital age is the inability to tolerate discomfort. Your child needs to learn that not every silence needs to be filled. Not every disagreement needs to be avoided. Not every emotion needs to be instantly soothed. Role play with them. Teach them how to apologize in person when they screw up. Have a face-to-face conversation when there's conflict. Sit with a friend who is sad without trying to fix it. Invite someone new into the group even if it feels weird. These are the skills that build real, lasting friendships, and they cannot be learned through a screen. Number 4, create shared boredom experiences. This is my favorite. Plan activities where the goal is not entertainment, but presence. Take your kid and their friend on a long car ride with no devices. Go on a hike where there's no cell service. Sit around a campfire and just talk. At first, they will hate it. They will say it's boring. They will beg for their phones. But if you hold the line, something shifts. They start noticing things. They start talking about weird, random stuff. They start bonding over the shared experience of doing nothing together. Boredom is the soil where connection grows. If you keep fertilizing their brain with instant stimulation, nothing real will ever take root. We are at a crossroads. We can continue down the path we're on, where kids are raised by algorithms, where friendships are performed instead of lived, where an entire generation grows up feeling utterly unseen despite being constantly visible online. Or we can choose differently. We can choose to raise kids who know what it feels like to belong to something real, to be part of a group not because of how many followers they have, but because of who they are when no one is watching. We can teach them that loneliness is not solved by more connection, it's solved by better connection. Fewer people, deeper relationships, less performance, more presence. Your child does not need 800 friends. They need 3 real ones. 3 people who show up when things are messy, 3 people who know their middle name and their biggest fear, and the weird thing they do when they're nervous. The tech companies will tell you that their child is more connected than ever. Don't believe them. Connection is not measured in screen time or follower counts. It is measured in the number of people who would notice if you disappeared. So here is your job. Teach your child how to be irreplaceable. Teach them how to show up. Teach them how to be the kind of friend they want to have. Brick the phones, open the door, send them outside, let them be bored, let them figure it out. Because the loneliest generation doesn't need more technology, they need more humanity.